Hi everyone, it's Mindy from My Creative Scoop. I'm back with another tutorial for scrapbookpal.com. Today I'm using this adorable stamp set by Avery Elle. It's called Rawr, and we're also using this Happy Birthday with Numbers die set by Spellbinders. We're going to be doing some Copic coloring, and also I'm going to show you this fun technique using pattern paper. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is get the card base ready. So this is 8.5 by 7 scored at 3.5, and then I have a piece of cardstock for the card front, which is 3 3/8 by 8 3/8. So that way it's just 1/8 inch shy of the actual card base itself. Then we're going to pick a couple of different patterns here, and we're going to cut them in strips at 1 inch. Okay, so I've cut out 9 different strips because that's how many I could fit onto my card front. So you just have to place them in the order that you want them in, and it's easiest to take your adhesive and just put it halfway down the page, and then you can go ahead and lay your strips down. So depending on how you want to do it, you'll lay them down slightly at an angle, and like so, and you're going to continue coming all the way down. So after you adhere all of the strips, you'll wait for it to dry. You can flip it over, and then you could see where you're going to cut all the way around. So that way all of those strips are glued directly onto the card front, and there's not going to be any of the white shorter border showing, and it's going to be flush against the card front. Okay, so here's how it looks all trimmed off, and now we can go ahead and add some foam tape to the back of here and adhere it to our card base. Okay, so now with our Spellbinder Happy Birthday dies, I've gone ahead and cut out 2 of the circles that say Happy Birthday, and I'm going to poke all of these little extra pieces out, and then I'm going to double up on these little Happy Birthday circles. So that way it thickens it up a little bit, and we have a little bit more depth to the words. So that way they stand out a little bit more, making them a little bit thicker against that pattern paper. So we're going to go ahead and glue those together, and then I've cut out using a different pattern from what we have here of the small circle to put in the center of the Happy Birthday, and I cut out the 5 in the gray so that way it stands out a little bit more. Okay, so I added some foam tape to the back of the circle that's going to go into the center around our Happy Birthday circle frame. And make sure the hearts are upright and stick it right in the center. And then now we have to attach the little 5. So since I wanted it to stand up a little bit higher as well, I went ahead and cut out some regular ones with my white cardstock, and then I'm going to take the pattern paper and adhere it straight to that white one so that way it stands up a little bit higher. Alright, so I have some more foam tape so that way we can place this on our card. So I'm going to put it not in the middle, just up a little bit. Make sure we're even on both sides from here and over here. And now we can go ahead and stick that 5 in the center. And now we're ready to color our images. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and color these cute little dinosaurs by Avery Elle. This stamp set is called Rawr, and I've stamped them onto my Copic Express It blending card using my Memento ink, and now I'm going to color it with my Copic markers. So let's go ahead and get started. I am using the R32 and R30. For this one down here, we're going to be making this one pink with some yellow, or no, with some teal bluish spots, and then we're going to be coloring this one yellow. We're gonna have to do the yellow spots and yellow spikes, and the rest of him is gonna be teal. So let's go ahead and take the R32, and we're gonna add a little bit of shadow to the shadowed areas. So right here, since his face is turned, we're gonna go ahead and add a little bit right along the line, and then underneath his face, coming down the front side of his body, and underneath his, where his tummy starts, we're gonna go ahead and make that yellow as well. That foot back here is gonna be pretty much all colored in since it's tucked behind, and then all underneath the tail. And we're gonna make a little bit of a shadow on the bottom parts of these spots. And now with the R30, we're gonna go ahead and go right along the side of the R32, getting a nice blend, pulling out some of that R32. We're gonna do that in all areas. And once we have a nice blend right along the edge of that R32, then we're just going to go ahead and do one swipe over, filling in the remaining white area. For a little bit more dimension, we're going to go ahead and take some E13. We're going to go back to those shadowed areas. So right where we added that R32 the first time, we're going to add a little bit of this brown tone, so that way we can get a deeper pink shadow. So try not to go as thick as you did the first time with the R32. Now, because we don't want that to be a brown, we want it to be a darker version of this pink. So now we have to go directly over that E13 and add a little bit of this R32. You want to come out a little bit thicker this time because you really want to be able to pick up some of that E13, and it pulls it out so that way we get that deeper shadow. And then again with the R30. Alright, so now we can go ahead and get out the BG13, BG11, and some B00. We're actually going to use the B00 first, and I'm trying to match the paper that we have here. So it's kind of a light blue, but it has a little bit of a teal to it. You could tell up here with the clouds. So we're going to put this underneath. So we're going to fill in the polka dots with the B00 fully. And we're also going to fill in underneath the dinosaur's tummy on the stripes. And then we're going to take the BG13, add a little bit of a shadow on the bottom part of all of these polka dots. This helps cover up where I've went a little bit into the polka dots using the R32. And then we're going to add that shadow directly underneath. I'm going to go back with my R32 and fix this little mistake. And then my R30, just so I could pull this out a little bit more since I added a little bit of teal there. Alright, so then we're going to go ahead and take that BG11 and we're going to pull out that BG13, and then once it's nice and blended, we're just going to do one swipe over the entire area of the B00, so that way we replace that full-on B color, just the blue, and it creates this blue-green color, but a little bit more blue than using just the BG13, BG11. So that way it matches that paper. And let's go ahead and add a little bit of dots on his head. And a little kind of throughout his body. You want to make some big and some small. Creates a little bit more textures on to make him look a little scaly. And then let's go ahead and do the same thing with the R30. So we're just going to go back through and add a little bit of dots. This is just going to either darken some areas, or if you go in the lighter areas, it might just push some of that color out of the way and create a little lighter spot. So while that's drying, it's going to add some nice textures to that little dinosaur. So let's go ahead and color this one up. We're going to go ahead and start with the Y17 and Y02 for the spots and along the top part of the little spikes. So I'm just going to come right along the bottom and then come up a little bit. And along the bottom of his tummy. So I'm going to take the Y02 and I want to come back into some of that Y17. I want to push some of that Y17 out because it's a little bit orangey, goldeny. And I want to make sure I have a nice blend. And then we're going to go ahead and just do one swipe over after we get a good blend right along the Y17. Oh, we still have his head, so let's go ahead and finish coloring those in. Now we're going to take the we're going to take the B00, and we're going to do his face first, so we're going to just do one swipe over with the B00. And then we're going to take that BG13 and just go right along the side, and it's going to kind of taper off down by his little chin, get a little thicker as it's coming up, and then taper off again towards the top of his head. And then with the BG11, we're going to blend out the 13. Just kind of ignore the fact that that B00 is there. Just blend this out like how you would normally would. After it's nice and blended out, we're going to do one swipe across everything. I'm going to do the exact same thing for his body, so back with the B00. And then with the shadow, and you could really tell the difference between there, how much more blue that is. So now let's take that BG13, and we're going to shadow underneath the tail, all along the bottom, underneath his face. This back leg is going to be pretty much fully colored in because it's in the back behind him. And we also want to put a deep shadow right behind his face, so that because of the way his head is turning. And then we're going to add a little bit of a shadow right underneath the little spots. And now let's blend it out with BG11. So again, just ignore the fact that that B00 is there and just blend out that BG13. Once it's nice and blended out, then we're going to do one swipe over, again going directly over that B00 and changing the color a bit. All right, so actually let me blend this out a little bit better. And then we're going to take the BG11, set that there, and add the little spots for the texture. Just go directly over the color we just laid down, because like I said, it's still going to give it that texture. So I'm actually going to go back a little bit with my Y02 as well, just through a little bit. I know it's going to make it a little green. We'll add a little bit for some texture. And let's go ahead and take that B00 again and add a little bit of dots for some texture. And you want to, again, make sure that you do some kind of big, some kind of small. All right, so now let's go ahead and take the Y17. We're going to color in these little stars on the hat completely. Just fill them all in. And then I'm going to take my R30 and color in the hat solid. And the BG11 for his little, the little ball on his hat. Add a little bit of a shadow. And then we're going to go back with the R32 and add a little bit of shadow along the bottom of the hat, and then going up just the one side. Let's blend it out a little bit with some R30. And let's take that, still that R30, and let's color in some of these stripes. Take the BG11. And the Y02. And let's do the R30 again. And the BG13 for the hat will go up little shadow there, and then fill it in with BG11. Let's go ahead and go add a little bit of a shadow on that same side. So by doing this, I'm just adding a second coat using the color that we did, so that way it stays still light, so it looks like that pastel color. And what else? Let's do another coat of the YO2. So it gives it just a little shadow along the left side of the hat. All right, so now they are ready to be die cut out. All right, so here's my cute little dinosaurs on my slimline card. Happy 5th birthday would be super cute for any little kid. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.